Abuja.
Well, joining us live from Port Harcourt is a legal practitioner and constitutional lawyer, Eugene Ode. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
And joining us via Zoom from Enugu, we have the chairman, Enugu State Chapter of the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Dr. Ambrose Igoke. Ambrose, good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Let me begin with you, Ambrose. Let's get your perception of this resolution reached between both parties, as well as the president stepping in to resolve this impasse. Do you see the 8 points agreement as what will really address the issues that we have seen over the past few days?
Before I delve into answering your question, I want to create a little bit of background for what Rivers State is since 1999.
Right.
Rivers State has the politics of Rivers State have been not been smooth. It has always been volatile. The transition of power from Peter Odili, who started his tenure in May 29, 1999, and in 2007, when it was supposed to be, you remember the Speaker of the House of Assembly then, the Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi. You know, we saw what happened. There was also crisis of transition. And then the president then took sides with the governor then, and then installed somebody called Celestino Meyer. I remember that Rotimi had to go, and she had to go to the Supreme Court to get that mandate back. Also, remember that when Rotimi Amechi served his 8-year tenure and wanted to leave, there was this issue between Patience Jonathan, who was first lady then, siding with Wike, Yenson Wike, and there was it was a battle too. It was also a volatile situation, which proceeded to bring Wike as governor. Now Wike, had left, but his own was we are surprised because he single-handedly picked Simfubara to succeed him. So everybody said, okay, it was good. I will remember also the politics of ethnicity in Rivers State, because from Peter Odili to Amechi to Wike came from one side of the state. So this is the first time since 1999, actually, that power is shifting to the other side of the state. And Yenson Wike was commended for that. So underlining that, we didn't know there were so many issues that were, underlined that. And barely 5 months after taking over, the bubble burst. So it has been an ugly situation since then. It's good that President Tinubu did not keep quiet. He earlier intervened, and when he was allowing them to sort out their problem as independent entities and as mature people. But since they were not matured enough, both Subara and Yenson Wike, and he had to now come in to actually spend 3 hours of other things he was supposed to do. I mean, as a president, there are so many issues on his table. And out of 36 states plus Abuja 37, you have to waste 3 hours of his precious time to try to settle things that should not have arose in the first place. But all good. The 8-point agenda it should be abided by both sides. But I saw that there's something curious I feel that is missing, which has taken place the others while. Now the question is the 27 members that decamped from the political party of the PDP to the APC. What happens? I didn't see a resolution that said they should go back to the PDP. So it is also something that is left, that is a wound that has been left festering, that ought to have been addressed in this resolution. I didn't see it being addressed. And it's a worry for me, because now you will have a governor who is from another political party, and you have members of the House, majority of whom from another party. And for me, it's not a balanced situation, because it will figure out more cantankerous situation. But all fine, if these 8 points of resolution are adhered to and implemented, then the issues I've raised about the bipartisan nature of the rulership in Rivers State can be solved. So the first thing is to ensure that these two parties work together to ensure that these resolutions are solved.
All right, let's get the initial take of Eugene Ode, who is joining us from Port Harcourt. Well, before now, the clarion call had been this fight or this crisis could snowball on a national scale, and prompting calls for the president to intervene. And now he has. But then another voice has asked, or people have also asked, what is his constitutional mandate in this regard? Does he even have that mandate to intervene in the way he has? And now that he has, how does it look to you?
Well, the president swore to an oath when he was sworn in as the president and commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to defend and uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And there are political solutions to matters when they arise, but it's not every matter that can be resolved politically. What is happening in Rivers State has gone beyond political solutions. This is because, like the other speaker rightly pointed out, what happens to those lawmakers who have defected? That is purely constitutional. It has gone beyond politics. It is now a constitutional issue, and the president should know better. I heard Fashola saying something yesterday that the president does not have any constitutional role to play in the crisis in Rivers State and in Ondo State. This is because the crises are mainly constitutional in nature. And the Constitution remains a guiding principle in the whole of all this. Everybody must fall back at the end of the day to the provisions of the Constitution. And it's very clear that once a member of a state house of assembly defects from a party that sponsored him or her to the seat, it stands to vacate that seat. These matters have gone to court in several other plethora of cases, and the result was always the same. Don't forget, last year, 20 members of the Cross River State House of Assembly also did the same thing, and a federal high court sitting in Abuja, presided over by Justice Taiwo, actually ruled that those members, 20 members, had lost their seats. A similar thing played out in a Ebonyi State where 16 lawmakers defected together with His Excellency David Umahi to the APC. His learned brother, Inyang Ekwo, of the Federal High Court in Abuja, also ruled the same way, following an old judgment of the Supreme Court that was laid down in 2015 when it happened in Ondo State. So the Constitution is very clear on how these issues should be resolved and ought to be resolved, which is to the effect that these lawmakers cease to become members of the Rivers State House of Assembly constitutionally. Now, the question now will arise, what is the effect of that resolution constitutionally? The effect is that that resolution is, to the extent of its inconsistency with the provisions of the Constitution, a nullity. And I believe they all know that that resolution will not stand the test of time. It doesn't matter those who were behind it, whether it was by the president himself, whether it was orchestrated by the minister of the FCT and all those concerned. The truth is that the Constitution is what binds and guides every one of us in this country, and any attempt to undermine the principles of the Constitution will be resisted by the people of Nigeria. Any member, any citizen of this country, within this country, can take up that resolution and go to court and seek judicial interpretation, and believe me, it's going to fall when tested against the backdrop of the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
With the constitution of these persons returning Amehule as the speaker, and then, accepting the 27 lawmakers, there are those who still believe that chances of impeaching the governor still stands.
All this we are saying, actually, there are political wars for political perpetuation and survival. There are wars for political sustenance of the individuals involved. They are not for the purpose of the welfare of the people of Rivers State. So a political godfather is having a battle with his political godson. And the political godfather is now overreaching some of those conditions which his political godson has accepted before he was made governor. And after becoming governor, he changed his mind and said, I'm not in charge, so I'm not going to stick with these agreements. So the agreements they reached, that Wike reached with Fubara, the River State people were not involved. So it was a transactional political business between the two of them and has nothing to do with governance of the people that will benefit the people of River State. That has to be put out clearly there. So these two individuals are engaged in a fierce battle. Sim Fubara, despite these resolutions on paper, Sim Fubara cannot sit idly by and allow himself to be immersed in a situation where 27 members of the House of Assembly can impeach him in a whiff. Nobody who wants to survive will surround himself with enemies, because the way they are now, they are political enemies. Taking instruction from Abuja, from somebody sitting in Abuja, and say, impeach this man. So he has survived the first attempt, and he knows, as a politician, that he is constantly under threat of impeachment. So far, these members are, one, loyal to Wike, two, are members of the opposition political parties. Therefore, that aspect that was not treated, in fact, I thought it should be number one on the list, that the political party should even first of all come back so that we can be dealing with one problem, that is the problem of taking instruction from Wike. But now we are dealing with double problem, the issue of the political party. So if all of them were in one political party, then we have solved one problem. Then we can focus on the other. But right now we are having two big problems, two humongous problems. And we say we have a resolution. There is no resolution anywhere, because Sim Fubara as a governor will not be comfortable sitting down with those people. And then, Sim Fubara is backing the speaker that court has declared as against the speaker that was that resolution saying we should back. Now, what happens when they come back to Port Harcourt? Will he ask the other guy to leave and praise this guy? That one can also start his own political battle, because they are all political gladiators in their own rights and can say, no, the court has given me the authority. I will not abide by a resolution that is not even submitted, because a mediation process, if it is concluded by both parties, ought to be entered in court as a judgment. So it has not even been entered in court as a judgment or whatever. So it's not even constitutionally or legally binding. So these things have not been tested in the court. So anybody can say, I'm no longer interested in those resolutions, and then it will not hold water. So it's a big crisis situation. And I think if it is an oversight or on purpose, the parties should come back. I think the president should call them back and say that as part of the resolution, the members also say, well, I ought to go back to the PDP. It is very, very important. Because the last time I saw a PDP stalwart, I don't know if they are chairman in Port Harcourt, saying that those members have become, and they are welcome, and they are not, nobody can harass them and all those kind of. These are constitutional matters. These are not for matters of political statements and the rest. So if we want to really solve this problem, they should come back first. But sweeping it under the carpet and pretending it doesn't exist because it favors the ruling party at the national level makes a nonsense of the whole matter. And this may make the matter even linger more. So the process has to be holistic, and so that we can focus on governance. The people of Rivers State are suffering, and now the worrisome part is that it has been some ethnic coloration has been added to it. It's now like a battle between Kwere people and Ijaw people, which is not supposed to come up. And Ijaw nationalities have done protests, have gone to submit letter to the governor. So the ethnic cleavage is very dangerous for the polity. And we know that the Niger Delta, especially Rivers State, is very, very instrumental to the economy of the country. That place has to be stable for us to even meet up with some of our basic economic needs as a nation. So it has to be treated with all sorts of, dedication in a holistic nature, so that we don't leave any room for a crisis that may snowball into a national problem for us.
All right, that's also another crucial aspect in the controversy, and I would also like Eugene Ode's take on this. You are, after all, based in Port Harcourt. So what do you make of the Ijaw agitation, this unusual Ijaw agitation for one of their own, and the impact of the resolution on their own grouse?
As far as we are concerned in Rivers State, there's relative peace. We've not seen any breakdown of law and order so far. It's a law-abiding state. Citizens are going about their normal businesses. There is no issue, no security issue has arisen so far. What we are just seeing, we are just sitting down and watching the political gladiators fighting for survival. It's a game of survival, and everybody wants to survive. The minister of FCT wants his structure to remain for political survival. And the governor of the state has realized that he is the commander-in-chief of the, he is the chief security officer of the state, and wants his own structure, he wants his political, he wants to also survive politically. So these are issues that are the major conflict is between the governor, the present governor, and the past governor. The people are yet to be involved to that extent of calling it a crisis of that magnitude that will affect the security of lives and properties. So, but
well, we saw them on the streets protesting.
Well, it's a normal. It's a protest. It's a constitutional right. The protest. Everybody has a right to protest, to canvass their position within the lines, within the confines of extant laws, and that is what, like I said, Rivers State is a peace-loving state. Citizens are law-abiding. It hasn't reached that stage where you say a crisis has.
But you're also mindful of the threats issued by the Ijaw group, because the governor is Ijaw. This is the first time they'll be having a governor from that, ethnic extraction. Your co-analyst has also spoken about the ethnic coloration that this crisis has, presented. So what happens now, especially with the resolution presented from the presidency?
I think my Ijaw brothers should just calm down at this point in time. This is just a struggle between two political friends. It is not ethnic in nature. Like I said, I told you initially that this crisis, whatever we are experiencing now, has happened before. Rotimi Chubike Amechi was from the Ikwere stock, Wike was from the Ikwere stock, and we saw the rivalry between these two political gladiators. At that time, it wasn't ethnic. So we shouldn't say what is happening now between Steve Fubara and Nyesom Wike as ethnic coloration. Of course, everybody wants to protect their interests. The interest is what matters. So I want to urge my Ijaw brothers to stop playing the drums of ethnicity in this fight. These are issues that will be resolved eventually. Rivers State belongs to every one of us, whether you're from the Ijaw, whether you're from the Engeni, whether you're from Ogoni, whether you're from Ikwere, wherever you are from. As far as you're a Rivers citizen, wherever, it's for all of us. Rivers State is for everybody, whether you are an indigene or non-indigene. As long as you reside in Rivers State belongs to every one of us. So let's not allow this thing to snowball into something that we may not be able to control at the end of the day. It's still within the ambits of the law, and let the law take its course. Some of these matters are in court, and you can see politically too, there are attempts to resolving these issues. Like I told you, at the end of the day, it's still the courts that will give a direction as to what everybody should do. And I believe that if the courts intervene, the intervention of the court, which is absolutely going to be the final resolution, everybody will be bound by the decisions of the court at the end of the day.
Our time is up. Unfortunately, we can't continue this conversation, but we must thank you, legal practitioner and constitutional lawyer Eugene Ode, for your time. And from Enugu, who joined us via Zoom, the Enugu State Chapter of the Guild, Chairman of the Enugu State Chapter of the Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Dr. Ambrose Igboke. Thank you for your time on the program. Well, this is where we draw the curtains on the program for today, but let's tell you that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News.